ever think about how much knowledge is just sitting there locked up in documents? I mean, like, everywhere from ancient scrolls to, like, modern research papers, there's a ton of information, but you can't always get to it.
Yeah, because of things like language barriers or just like really complex formatting.
Right. But what if there was a way to unlock all that knowledge? I mean, like, make it so you can instantly understand it and search it.
Well, that's what this Mistral OCR is all about. It's like this new AI tool that's supposed to revolutionize how we understand documents.
I've been looking over these press releases and technical specs, and it sounds pretty futuristic, but also kind of like it's closer than we think.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's break it down. What exactly is this Mistral OCR, and like, how does it actually work?
So basically, it uses really advanced AI to, process and understand documents.
Okay.
But it's different from like regular OCR tools.
How so?
Well, those mostly just focus on converting images of text into like machine-readable characters.
Oh.
Mistral OCR takes a more holistic approach. Yeah. It uses what they call multimodal understanding to analyze the entire document. So like images, tables, even the layout, and all of that to extract meaning and context.
So it's not just reading the words, it's understanding how all the different parts of the document fit together.
Exactly. Like imagine a scientific paper with graphs and charts in it.
Okay.
Mistral OCR can look at those visuals at the same time as the text. So it can understand the data trends and like the conclusions. It can even figure out complex math expressions and even chemical structures.
Oh, that's impressive. It seems like it could be huge for fields like scientific research where you have data in so many different formats.
Oh yeah, definitely. Researchers spend hours and hours going over papers trying to pull out the important data. Mistral OCR could do that automatically.
Interesting.
They could analyze way more literature and find those key findings or connections that they might miss otherwise.
And what about documents in other languages? Can Mistral OCR handle that?
Oh yeah, one of the best things about it is that it can work with tons of languages and scripts right out of the box. It's a truly global tool. Imagine being able to instantly translate and analyze historical manuscripts or legal documents from anywhere in the world.
It's like opening up a whole new world of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We could finally access historical records that have been out of reach because of language barriers.
Yeah.
But how does it stack up against other tools out there?
Well, in benchmark tests, Mistral OCR is more accurate, especially when it comes to like complex layouts and things like formulas and tables.
Is that right?
Yeah. For example, with tables, it's got an accuracy rate of 96.12%. That beats Google Document AI, which is at 78.16%, and Azure OCR at 89.52%. It even does better than some of those big language models out there like Gemini and GPT-4.
Those are some serious numbers.
Yeah.
What else makes it stand out?
Well, it has this unique feature called Docus Prompt, where you can actually use the document as a prompt.
Okay.
So you can ask really specific questions and get structured answers. Like you could upload a scientific paper and ask, what were the main findings of this study? And Mistral OCR would give you a summary of the conclusions based on its analysis.
That's amazing. It's like having a research assistant who can break down complex documents for you.
That's a good way to put it. It turns documents into interactive knowledge bases, making information more accessible and usable. It's a big step forward in how we interact with written material.
This is all super exciting, but we've only just scratched the surface here.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
What are some real-world examples of how Mistral OCR is being used that are highlighted in our source material?
One of the most interesting ones is in scientific research where it could really speed up discoveries. I mean, by automating the analysis of all that scientific literature.
Okay.
Researchers could zero in on promising research areas and potentially make breakthroughs in all sorts of fields.
So any field that relies on analyzing a lot of written information, this could be a game changer.
Exactly. And it's not just science. Mistral OCR could also totally change how we preserve and access historical and cultural heritage. Think about being able to digitize and translate ancient manuscripts, make them available to everyone. We could uncover so many stories and perspectives from the past.
It's amazing to think about how it could change our understanding of history in different cultures. But what about more like practical, everyday uses?
Yeah.
Could this technology make things like customer service better?
For sure. Imagine a customer service chatbot that can instantly understand complex product documentation.
Okay, yeah.
Answer customer questions without making them wait on hold forever. It would be a total customer service revolution.
That would be a welcome change, for sure. But it sounds like it goes way beyond customer service.
Totally. From lawyers analyzing contracts to teachers creating interactive learning materials, the possibilities are endless. It could change the way we interact with and learn from documents.
This is truly mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But let's take a step back for a second. Before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, let's look at some of the technical details. How does Mistral OCR actually achieve this level of accuracy and performance?
Well, one key thing is its ability to handle complex layouts, like documents with images, math expressions, tables all mixed together, even advanced formatting like latex.
Wow.
It's not just about recognizing the text, it's about understanding the structure and how all the different parts of the document are related.
So it can make sense of a scientific paper with all its charts, graphs, and equations, instead of just seeing a jumbled mess of text and images.
Exactly, and that's super important for accurately getting the data out of complex documents. For example, in their tests, Mistral OCR had a 94.29% accuracy rate when working with mathematical expressions, compared to Google Document AI at 80.29% and Azure OCR at 85.72%. That's a big difference, especially for researchers who need to get accurate data from scientific papers. And it's not just math. Mistral OCR is also really good at handling tables. It gets a 96.12% accuracy rate compared to Google's 78.16% and Azure's 89.52%. So it's not just pulling text from tables, it actually understands how the data points are connected. Like, it can recognize headers, rows, columns, and even get the data out in a structured format like JSON.
That's really useful for anyone working with data or doing research.
Mhm.
Speaking of which, how does Mistral CR do with different languages? We talked about it a little bit, but I'd love to hear more about how accurate it is across different languages.
Well, like we said before, it's designed to work with thousands of languages and scripts, and their tests show it's really accurate across a lot of languages. Like for Russian Mistral, OCR has an accuracy rate of 99.09% compared to Azure's 97.35% and Google's 95.56%, and for French, it's 99.20% versus Azure's 97.50% and Google's 96.36%.
Those are pretty high accuracy rates. It really seems like a global tool, breaking down language barriers and making information available to more people.
It really does, and it's worth pointing out that Mistral AI really emphasizes their commitment to multiple languages as part of their mission to serve the world with their models.
It's nice to see a company that cares about making their tech inclusive and accessible.
Yeah.
Now, let's switch gears a bit. You mentioned that Mistral OCR is super fast. How does that affect its real-world use, especially when dealing with tons of documents?
Yeah, speed is really important when you're dealing with a lot of documents. Mistral OCR can process something like 2,000 pages per minute on a single node, so you can go through mountains of data way faster than you could with traditional methods.
So for researchers, historians, or even businesses with a lot of documents, this could save them a lot of time and resources. They could spend less time on data entry and processing and more time on actually analyzing and understanding the information.
Exactly. And being so fast means you could even use it for real-time applications. Like, imagine a customer service chatbot that can instantly pull up and understand complex product documentation and answer customer questions right away without having to search for ages or transfer them to a human agent.
That would be a huge improvement in customer service, quicker resolutions, and happier customers for sure. Speaking of revolutionizing interactions,
Right.
let's get back to that Doc as prompt feature. It seems like a game changer for how we access and use the information in documents. Could you explain a little more about how it works and why it's so important?
Sure. Doc as prompt basically lets you use the document as a prompt to ask really specific questions and get structured answers. It's like having a smart research assistant built right into the system that can understand and analyze the document for you.
So instead of just searching for keywords or skimming through pages of text, you can actually ask complex questions based on what's in the document, and Mistral OCR will give you a clear and concise answer.
Exactly, like you could ask it, what were the key findings of this scientific study? Or what are the potential risks outlined in this legal contract? And the system would look at the document, find the relevant information, and give you a clear and organized answer.
That's incredibly powerful. It takes document understanding to a whole new level, making information so much easier to find and use. Now, shifting gears a bit, how does Mistral OCR address concerns about data privacy and confidentiality, especially for organizations working with sensitive information?
For those organizations, Mistral OCR offers a self-hosting option so you can run the software on your own systems, and your data never has to leave your control. You have complete control over how secure your data is.
That's good to know, especially for industries like healthcare, finance, and government, where data privacy and security are super important.
Absolutely. This self-hosting option gives organizations the flexibility and control they need to use this powerful technology while still meeting their specific security and compliance requirements.
Okay, so we've talked about accuracy, speed, multilingual capabilities, that innovative doc as prompt feature, and even security considerations. Mistral OCR seems to be hitting all the right notes when it comes to understanding documents and making information accessible. Now let's get back to some of those real-world applications highlighted in the source material, starting with scientific research.
Okay, imagine researchers being able to analyze huge amounts of scientific literature in a fraction of the time it takes now. Instead of spending hours reading and pulling out data manually, they could use Mistral OCR to quickly find key findings, trends, and connections they might have missed.
It's almost like having a superpowered research assistant capable of processing information way faster and at a larger scale than any human. This could lead to quicker breakthroughs in things like medicine, climate science, and material science, just to name a few.
Exactly, and it's not just about speed. Mistral OCR's ability to understand and analyze those complex parts of documents like charts, graphs, and equations means researchers can get more complete and accurate insights from their data, which could lead to more solid and trustworthy research findings.
It's exciting to think about what this could mean for scientific discoveries and innovation.
Hmm.
Now, let's move on to a different but equally important application. How could Mistral OCR change the way we preserve and share historical and cultural heritage?
Think about all those ancient texts, manuscripts, and even artifacts with inscriptions that are just sitting in archives and museums. Most people can't access them because of language barriers, their fragile condition, or just the sheer amount of material. But Mistral OCR could change that.
It could help digitize and translate those materials, making them available to a global audience and making sure they're preserved for future generation.
Yeah.
We could learn about so many stories and perspectives from the past, and it would enrich our understanding of history in different cultures.
Exactly. It's like opening a window to the past, allowing us to connect with our shared human heritage in a deeper and more meaningful way. We could gain new insights into ancient civilizations, lost languages, and forgotten stories.
It's really fascinating to think about how it could change our view of the past. But let's not forget about how this technology can be used in our everyday lives. For example, how could Mistral OCR change the customer service experience?
Imagine a world where customer service reps have instant access to a huge knowledge base of product manuals, technical documents, and even legal contracts. Instead of putting customers on hold while they search for answers, they could use Mistral OCR to quickly and accurately resolve questions, leading to faster resolutions and happier customers.
No more endless hold music or being transferred from department to department. It sounds like a customer service dream come true for both the customers and the reps.
Absolutely. And it's not just customer service. Mistral OCR could also streamline processes in all sorts of industries, from lawyers reviewing contracts to educators making interactive learning materials.
It sounds like Mistral OCR has endless possibilities spanning across many industries and tasks. It has the potential to change how we access, understand, and use information in our everyday lives. But let's shift our focus to the company behind this groundbreaking tech, Mistral AI. What can you tell us about them and their mission? From what I've read, Mistral AI is a pretty new company, but they've already made a big splash with their approach to AI and document understanding.
Yeah, they're definitely one to keep an eye on. Their focus on these open weight models and making their tech easy to use for lots of people is really impressive. They've even made Mistral OCR free to try on their platform, LeChat, and they offer the API through their developer suite, the platform.
That's a good way to let people try it out and see what it can do. And for developers who want to use Mistral OCR in their own apps, having access to the API opens up so many possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. It encourages people to be creative and come up with new uses for this tech in all sorts of fields.
So it seems like Mistral AI isn't just about developing cool AI. They also want to build a community around it and make it accessible to everyone.
That's right. And the fact that they're so focused on making it work with multiple languages really shows their commitment to making information accessible to the whole world, breaking down those language barriers and helping people understand each other better.
It's great to see a company with such a strong vision and a real desire to make a positive impact. But as with any powerful technology, there are always questions about using it responsibly and the potential downsides. What do you think about that?
You're right. We have to think about the ethical implications of any technology, especially something as powerful as Mistral OCR. One thing that worries me is the possibility of bias in the data used to train these AI models. If the training data isn't representative or has biases in it, it could lead to inaccurate or unfair results.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It shows how important transparency and accountability are in AI development. We need to make sure these systems are trained on data that's diverse and unbiased to avoid making existing biases worse.
Definitely. And we also need to think about what might happen to jobs in the workforce as a whole. I mean, Mistral OCR could automate a lot of tasks that humans do now, but we have to be careful about how we handle this transition, make sure workers have the skills and support they need to adjust to the changing job market.
That's a key part of responsible AI development, thinking about the impact on society and finding solutions that benefit everyone, not just a select few. It's complicated with no easy answers, but it's a conversation we need to keep having as AI keeps evolving and becomes
Yeah.
more a part of our lives.
I totally agree. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about how we use it and the effect it has on communities and society as a whole. We need to make sure AI is developed and used in a way that aligns with our values and helps create a fairer and more just world.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Mistral OCR, I'm feeling both excited and cautiously optimistic. It's a technology with huge potential to unlock knowledge, speed up discoveries, and bridge the gaps between cultures. But it also needs to be developed responsibly, and we need to think carefully about its potential impact.
I agree. Mistral OCR gives us a peek into a future where information is more accessible and easier to understand than ever before. But it's our responsibility to make sure we use this power wisely to make things better for humanity and advance knowledge.
That's a great note to end on. The future document understanding is here, and it's full of possibilities. It's up to us to shape that future responsibly and ethically so these advancements benefit everyone.